very substantive discussions first on Ukraine. So European Union and all the member states support the diplomatic efforts to achieve peace and the end of Russia's war. But it's clear that Russia is not preparing for peace. It is the opposite. They are preparing for more war. This week, Russia launched its second biggest air attack on Kyiv since the war began. The strikes killed many civilians and damaged offices that belong to the European Union and British Council. Russian airstrikes also hit a US factory. So today ministers discussed ways to further increase pressure on Russia to really negotiate, to really come to the negotiation table and sit down and discuss with Ukraine. Sanctions have deprived Russia tens of billions of euros to fund its war, and sanctions work. Ministers discussed the possible building blocks for the next sanction package. Options include secondary sanctions, those backing Russia's war, as well as import bans and tariffs on Russian products. Efforts against shadow fleet ships must also be stepped up. And I've asked the member states for their proposals next week. The goal is to exert maximum pressure on Russia. Of course, new actions would be stronger if matched by our partners, including our transatlantic partners. Today, ministers also discussed the use of Russian frozen assets for Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. It was a very, very good and very substantive discussion. We needed this to hear all the arguments from all the sides, to really debate on the substance matter, and this discussion will continue. Ministers acknowledged the need to address Ukraine's financing gap and to hold Russia accountable for war damages. To achieve this, it is crucial to explore all available avenues while minimizing the potential risks. And I want to stress that financial markets did not react when we froze the assets. Financial markets are calm now as we discuss this, and there are risks, but I'm confident that we are able to mitigate those risks. One thing is absolutely clear, where everybody agreed, and this is that given the devastation that Russia is causing in Ukraine and has caused in Ukraine so far, it is unthinkable that Russia will ever see this money again unless it fully compensates Ukraine the damages caused. Second, Middle East. First on Iran. The E3, so the France, Germany and UK, have begun the process of reimposing UN sanctions on Iran. And we had a short discussion on this. The 30-day deadline has started, and this does not mark the end of diplomacy. Tehran still has the chance to fully cooperate with the International Atomic Energy Agency and resume negotiations with the US over its nuclear program. And the ball is in Tehran's court. So I stand ready to support any kind of diplomatic efforts towards finding a solution. On Gaza, Israel's announcement that Gaza City is now a combat zone threatens to worsen the humanitarian situation. If military solution was possible, the war would already be over. Gaza needs less war, not more war, and on the West Bank, Israel's decision to advance its West Bank settlements is illegal and undermines the two-state solution. So, of course, we discussed what more can we do. We have been very active in contact with Israelis trying to improve the humanitarian situation on the ground, but of course more needs to be done. Many EU member states have taken measures against Israel. Israel sorry, not against Israel, but against the Israeli government. And there's a very important distinction to be made. It's not against Israel, but actually the actions of Israeli government that are going on, including sanctioning the ministers, suspending arms exports. This is what the EU member states have done. So on the European Union side, there is no sugarcoating to the reality where we are.
Two quick questions. On the Middle East, is it not the case that you're moving further apart on Gaza? We now have more countries, including Denmark, specifically calling for the suspension of the free trade part of the association agreement. So in a sense, it's not just, as you said this morning, High Representative, that you're divided. Actually, the divisions are growing and the differences are growing. You're growing further apart. And on frozen assets, the Belgian Foreign Minister was very clear this morning. He said, you can't kill the goose that lays the golden eggs. And he said he's also not open to even looking at riskier investments in terms of using the windfall profits. So isn't it the case that this is really a non-starter for now? Thank you.
Thank you. If the majority is growing, then the division is not getting bigger, but it's actually getting smaller because the majority is growing. So it depends how you look at it. But it is true that we still don't have an agreement on those measures. Like I said, there's no sugarcoating in the way it is. Today we had a very frank discussion on, really asking those countries who are not in favor of one or the other measure, okay, but what could be there then? What could be then the measure if we all agree, the diagnosis that the situation is grave? Then the question for us is, what do we do about this? And there we have a growing majority on different topics, but we don't have yet the necessary votes together. On the frozen assets, like I said, we had a very frank and open discussion. So I wanted to frame the discussion so that it's not a yes or no issue. Because we have to think ahead to also have an exit strategy. We can't possibly imagine, and by the way, there is a European Council conclusion that those assets remain frozen until Russia has paid for its damages. So we can't possibly imagine that those assets are given back unless they pay for the damages. We don't see them paying for the damages. So we need to have an exit strategy so that how do we go about this? And like I said, there are risks, of course, what also Belgium was raising, and many others as well. So let's work on the mitigation of those risks, how we can put really the solution together for the day after, because if there comes a peace agreement, then there is also this question what happens with those assets, and we need to have the answer, considering that we are a European Union that also respects the rule of law and everything. We have to have those rules in place in addition to the international law that is already saying that those who are causing the damages should pay for the damages that they have caused. And the damages caused in Ukraine are done by Russia, not by European countries.
We go to the first row. The lady here, please.
Thank you. My name is Celine. I'm from the Danish Broadcasting Corporation. My question is for the High Representative. Can you point to one concrete step regarding Israel that the countries actually agreed on today? And after today's meeting, do you expect a more unified EU putting pressure on Israel and taking concrete steps?
Thank you. First, we had an informal council, so that means that we actually don't adopt decisions here, but we really have the political debates, where is the room. So no decisions today. We were just, testing where we can move, especially those countries who have been against. Are they willing to move on other topics, on other measures that we can do? So that was the situation.